Hannah.
I'm Laura.
And we are two best friends who do a deep dive into a new book series, one book at a time. Right now we are ba-dum-bump in the year of the Dresden. And we are covering chapters 29 through the end. Of Deadbeat. First book, well, the second book where Laura and I are like, we actually like the Dresden
This one was a
Files.
delight.
This one was such a romp.
Can I admit something?
The ending. She was really excited about it.
I was so proud of myself, first of all, for like guessing the ending. Not totally guessing the ending, but guessing a part.
Right.
Because I never predict things correctly.
I know.
And so that was a big thrill for me. But also this book was just like so much fun. Where when I went to rate it on Goodreads, I'm like, do I give it 5 stars?
I know.
It was very difficult for me to decide.
I know. I'm like at a 4.75 or 5 on Storygraph.
I gave it 4 on Goodreads because I was just like, Jim Butcher, you're doing fine. You don't.
I did think, do I want to give this book a 5 when I know so many other people have before me? Does he need that 5?
That's kind of where I went, where I was like, you know what? I'm okay rounding down on this one.
Fair.
But honestly, what a romp of a book.
What a romp of a book.
It was so fun.
But before we get into it, Laura, what are you reading, watching, and or enjoying?
So at the time that this podcast comes out, it's a Wednesday. Yesterday, on the 15th, The Memory of the Ogisi by Moses Osei Utomi had come out, and I read, I was lucky to get an advanced reader copy of the book, and what a beautiful, haunting conclusion to the Forever Desert series. Hannah, you and I had Moses on last year and earlier this year, actually, where we talked about Jujutsu Kaisen, but we had Moses on last year where we were able to talk to him about the Forever Desert series. And this series honestly means a lot to me, especially in like the time that we are in, where it's such a process, I feel like, to receive information that is accurate and truthful and to pass along information, and also just to preserve history and stories in a meaningful and in a way that is giving care to the people that lived through those stories, if that makes sense. And so I think that these novellas have really meant a lot to me, just considering the time that we're in. And then also I just think that Moses has done a fantastic job working in like a mythology and also like kind of combining mythology with history of sorts.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really unique series that doesn't get as much like as many shout outs and stuff as it should. I think this is a series that really flies under the radar for fantasy readers, and it's lighter on fantasy, but it really just packs a punch. And this last installment in the series it was a really satisfying conclusion. I've loved the other 2 books in the series, and I think it very much ties into history being told by the people in power, and also kind of hammering home that stories can be manipulated and that the search for truth is dangerous and difficult, but also very worthwhile. And I really appreciated that it was a story that kind of was the series as a whole is very circular. But I feel like this third novella in this series in particular was one that was very much playing into that circular storytelling narrative. And we were, as readers, kind of getting the theme of history repeating itself being reiterated to us. And I think that it's just, very true of our own lives and our own world that history continually repeats itself. We are quick to forget and manipulate stories to the way that we want them to be, or the way that others have told us, the way that's more palatable, etc. But I do think that this book did a great job too. Moses did a great job of working in hope as well, where there were glimmers of hope. Like the characters were never ashamed to have put like any trust in people, or to have had faith that things would work out, and they continued to strive for, or at least one of the characters continued to strive for bringing about good things. And
Good.
and I appreciated that even though there's like a lot of dark things happening in this series, there are still those glimmers of hope that
Yeah.
occur. And I think Moses just really does a great job with this series in particular. And it's one that I was like kind of sad when I finished it because I was like, oh man, this series has really meant a lot to me. And I was so looking forward to the last book and everything. And now I'm kind of looking forward to possibly just doing a reread of all three, like boom, 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 to see how I feel reading them all back to back to back. And I might take a beat before I do that just to see like how I feel about this series further down in my own journey because the
Yeah.
way that the it means so much to me now. I'm like, it might mean different things to me, and I might take away different themes from this later on down the road. And I really appreciate too that Utomi is able to put all these different themes into the series where you're able to take away different pieces from the series at different moments and how you can interpret things differently. So yeah, I would highly, highly, highly recommend the Forever Desert series. And really, you can this might be a slight spoiler, but you can kind of jump into the series at whatever book you want. There's three.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that they all like play
Hmm.
off of each other, but there's
Yes.
enough distance between the books that they're kind of like from historical context, the perspective shifts based on like what you know about them. So,
Yes.
yes.
Technically, the first book is The Lies of the Ajungo, then The Truth of the Alike, and then The Memory of the Ogisi. But you can kind of jump in wherever. And I recommend jumping in
Yeah,
wherever. Do it. So pick that
to
up.
it. Beautiful.
And then I watched a couple things recently. I watched the last season of Squid Game, and
Mm.
I love that show.
I
I
know you
really love
do.
it.
A show Hannah will never watch, but it's like, ooh, that's probably the greatest show
It's
that's probably,
incredibly violent. It's not for
yeah,
everyone.
yeah.
And even like myself watching it, like this is not my typical type of show. Like I feel like I'm generally not watching, but then again, I'm being a liar because I like Ozark and I like Game of Thrones and stuff like that had tons of violence. So I'm a liar. As per usual, I say something then immediately contradict myself. But yeah, Squid Game I really appreciate and I think that it's a great show. It's gotten so much hype and I hope that people aren't just drawn to it for the violence that it portrays, that they are actually taking away more from the show and like the dangers of the elite class and
Yeah.
the oppression that exists in our society and how capitalism and money really are so damaging to
Yeah.
the lower class and really are just an imprisonment in themselves. Like poverty is such a trap for so many people that it's a great show. I would
Good.
recommend it, and I'm sure there's people that have way better critiques than me. So go check out their critiques, or just go watch the show and see what you think of it. But again, be of the right mindset if you're gonna watch it, and know that like check out content warnings because, like I said, it's incredibly violent, and I don't think it's for everyone.
I even like violent shows, but there's something about that one that I'm like, I don't think I can physically sit down and watch it because I think it would be too stark of a reality for me. Like it would be like too
Mhm.
much, like it's hitting too close to home right
It's
now. Like,
and that's true as well. It's something that seems like not that far out of the realm of possibility that maybe something like this could happen, and that's a hard thing to kind of wrap your brain around,
yeah.
but not at the same time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like that show though. I don't think I'll rewatch it, but it's
That's
not a
fair.
rewatch show. It's not one that makes it into rotation. If somebody that hasn't seen it wanted to watch it, I'm not gonna like walk out of the room, and I'll definitely
Right.
discuss it with people. I think it's a great show, but I don't know that it's one where you're like, you know what I feel like watching?
Some
Squid Game.
light television. Let's
Yeah,
watch Squid Games.
that's not happening. But but I think the acting in it is really great too. And obviously I watched the dubbed version
Hmm.
so that and also I saw online people were like complaining they're like "Ugh, the writing was just so terrible in the third season." I'm like, first of all, this is a translation, so I don't know how you know. But
Yeah.
bold claim.
Okay,
But
I guess.
but whatever. You can. people can just admit that they don't like something. That's okay to do without like always falling back on like the writing is terrible. But yeah, I thought it was a great show. And yeah. And then the other thing that I watched, Hannah, was Sinners. What a
Ah.
fabulous movie.
So I lied to you. I love the blues. I freaking love that movie
That
so
was great.
much. It
It
was
was
so
great.
good. There's so many layers to that movie. That's just
Hmm.
so it's so impressive to watch. And like there's so much like to dive into the discourse because a lot of people like came for Haley Stanfield in that movie because they
You're
wanted someone
kidding me.
who looked more black. And like Ryan Coogler was very
Oh,
much like
I thought you meant they came to the movie because they were fans.
no, 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 no. But
I was
like
like,
they came
that's
at
odd.
her and
Okay.
everyone was like, that was the whole point was like she was able to pass
Hmm.
as white, but like it was because she was mostly white and that
Hmm.
was still isolating to her in a community she
Right.
should be a part of because it put her in danger to actually be a part of that community. Like it was just like
Right.
so layered. It was so beautifully done and like the music on that is amazing.
I also thought the way that they portrayed religion and everything was interesting
Hmm.
too, because I don't know that it was necessarily villainized. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I mean, it was and it wasn't. So
I don't think it was villainized. I think it
I,
was
I think that it was handled really well, honestly,
yeah.
where it definitely showed the dangers of like immediately throwing yourself into a system of beliefs. But at
Hmm.
the same time, I felt like it wasn't a movie where I was like, oh, well, this was just about like, oh, religion bad. So I thought that was really interesting to portray that, you know?
Yeah. I thought that I thought it was more about like the colonial impact of things
Sure.
because like I thought I was very interested
Well,
um
and like the Irish
the
community
Irish,
as
like I
well.
thought that
And
was
that's kind of what I
really
was getting
interesting.
at
Yeah.
too, where like the role that the religion played in their community as well was brought
Yeah.
into it. And I thought that was like very interesting.
Which
So,
I don't think people talk enough about how like Irish people feel with the fact that the UK is right there. Like the UK colonized
mhm.
so many things
Oh yeah.
and including like Ireland, like parts of Ireland are still parts of the
Mhm.
UK and like Scotland and all these
I
things. So
think people tend to forget about that because they're just like, it's more white people. And
it is
fair
more white
enough,
people.
but
Like it is fair enough. It is as someone who is perceived as 100% Irish 100% of the time because I have red hair and
red hair.
very white skin. Like I yes, I'm part of that community, but I do think it's like interesting when you watch things like Dairy Girls and you find out that there's
Yeah.
like this whole historical impact. I think that
Hmm.
that gets back to when people talk about the fact that white people don't have a culture, it's like, well, we lost that culture because we all decided we were all a conglomerate and wanted to be a
Hmm.
conglomerate. And some of that was done for safety reasons,
Sure.
but also like the impact is still there. And I think it's hard to navigate as a white person. And like, this is me speaking specifically about white people. Black people have a
Hmm.
totally different context
Oh,
because of,
absolutely. Yeah, it's
especially African Americans, because of like slavery and all
hmm
those things. Like as a white person, I sometimes feel weird about being like, I'd like to get more connected with my Irish roots or my
hmm
German roots because I'm just like, why? Like that's you're just gonna be one of those girls who's like touristy and being like, I'm hashtag Irish, but like it is weird. Like my husband's family is very Irish and like
hmm
St. Patrick's Day is very important to them and they talk about like and they like ask me about like, oh, like you're Irish, right? And I have to be like, I don't really have that culture. Like it would be nice, but I
It's
feel
so
like I've
interesting that you
lost
brought
it.
this up because like I was literally just talking about this with my dad about how like when people talk about like their culture or their background, I don't feel any sort of connection like that to
Right.
anything. If and I said that's kind of sad. Like it makes me a little sad that we've
Yeah.
as like Americans become so disconnected from our own culture and that we've erased it essentially.
Right.
That we don't have this like connection to anything really. And I said to him, I was like, honestly, I feel like it's more ingrained within me to just be like, I am from Illinois. Like
Yeah.
Illinois is a very big part of my
Yeah.
life, more so than thinking of like my background as someone who has ancestors from Germany or England
Right.
or wherever.
That is very much how I feel. I feel like a very deep and strong connection to Illinois where I like
Hmm.
want to defend it to like my heart's content.
Same. Like I
Yeah.
will just die on the hill that Illinois is awesome.
And I live in Wisconsin, so
I bring it up to people on
like
Instagram. I'm like, Illinois is cool. And
Illinois
they're just
is
like,
cool.
come
We
on.
have Chicago and like cornfields are boring, but they are also like a huge part of the
I
industry
mean,
that
there's
makes
so much
everything.
more to Illinois than corn, though,
I
too.
know.
Like, it's such a huge. Oh, let's not get into this. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go off on a rant. But yes, we're talking about culture
Join
and
our
everything.
Patreon again when we get that up and running. Laura will just rant
Right.
on Illinois. We'll
Yeah,
get a
I'll
post.
I'll sing the Illinois state song. It'll be by thine rivers gently flowing. I know the state song.
Illinois. Now I'm just gonna, but it's gonna turn into me the you can't throw shade on the corn from our college days. So,
N-
uh,
No, not that one.
um,
The actual Illinois state song is very beautiful. Uh, but yeah, Sinners was a great movie. I don't know if like the fantasy element was even necessary, honestly. Like I
I
think
mean,
they
it
could have
is
done the
because it's a
move. It
vampire
is because
movie.
it's a vampire horror movie. But I feel like that they could have done almost instead of like vampires just like murder, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And made it a more historically realistic and darker story if it was just like
I was
people
okay
being killed. But
with
I,
it.
I was okay with the
Yeah.
vampires too. And I'm just someone who doesn't even like vampires. And
Yeah.
I was okay with it. But
I like it because Ryan Coogler like really made the movie he wanted to make and it was
mhm,
original. And
yeah.
I like when we left, like I saw it twice in like 2 weeks because I saw it on like original
Hmm.
film. It was beautiful. But like my husband sent me something of like it was a fake article that was like Sinners 2 has been greenlit. And I was like, that would be
Oh.
really disappointing if that's true. And Ryan Coogler was like, that's not true. Why would I make a
Say it
second one?
ended
Like the
in such
story
a
is done.
satisfying
Like,
way.
yeah. Um, so I think that that's
I also
it's
just
so
really
good.
appreciated the way that like music was tied into the whole story too, and how that like there was so much of a connection to music and channeling the past
Yes.
and the future through music. I thought that was
I'm
great.
so sorry. That one scene is like I want to watch it on repeat, just like straight into my veins because it's so powerful watching him like
Hmm.
sing that song and then all of this like dancing and
All of the
culture
people
comes on
coming around
screen.
and everything. Yeah, that was
So
great.
well done. I just love
And
it
the
so much.
casting was excellent too. They
Yes.
did a great job with that. Michael B. Jordan and his twin, and yeah, that was
According to my
great.
husband, who was like, "That's not two men." Like,
I love that he didn't know they were
yeah, it was so funny
the
when he
same
was at
person.
work and they were like, "How did Michael B. Jordan do in both roles?" And he was like, "This is the first time hearing that that was two people. That wasn't two people."
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, but
Um,
that movie was great. And I think it's honestly one of those where I'm like, I would recommend that to a lot of people. I was
oh
worried it was
yeah,
going to be super scary because I knew going into it that there were vampires, spoiler.
yeah.
And so I was like, I'm not a big vampire person. And also, like, I get scared. So I was worried about that, but it was very easy to take in. And I think it just has like so many themes. And
Yes.
I just really thought it was great. But Hannah, what have you been reading, watching, and or enjoying?
So I've been like super into audiobooks lately because brain. Um, so I listened to a bunch of shorter ones. Well, first off is a novel. So I read the first of the Molly the Maid series a little bit earlier this year, I think. And I was a little bit torn on it because I didn't love the way some of the representation was talked about off book, but I was like, I'm gonna give the second one, a chance. I didn't think it was a terrible plot. I thought it was a fun mystery. And I did enjoy the second book a lot more than I enjoyed the first book. I feel like the first book kind of was hurt by needing all of the context of Molly and all like the foibles that have happened, where like the more interesting part of Molly the maid is like she's someone who's likely neurodivergent and she is still a person who's very capable. Like in this one, she's the head maid and she like sees the world differently and it can lead to miscommunications. But that's interesting because like sometimes you know where the miscommunication is coming from and she doesn't, but it doesn't mean that like no one else has miscommunications in this book like it. So I think this one was much better because we weren't learning about like, oh, look at this past funny story where she thought she was on a date with a coworker who is infantilizing her. Like that made me uncomfortable. Like in this book she has a partner and she is head maid and she is training someone with like dignity and grace and like there's so much to her that isn't just like this background. And so I did prefer this book a lot more. And I
I
liked
kind of
it a lot
remember you
better.
talking about this one now that you mentioned that there was like the date that they went on and everything.
Yeah. And so like I didn't love the first book, but I do really like the second book. So I'm almost like, just skip the first one. Like you don't
Okay.
need it. Like because
Yeah,
this
if
one
it's
was
not
just
necessary to
yeah.
learn anything about them.
And this is just about her learning like different things about her gran from the past. And like this in this one, a mystery writer dies, and the gran used
Hmm.
to be the maid at his house. And so she has memories of like at one point she was kicked out of school for like bad reasons. And so the gran was taking her there, and she like it's flashbacks and it's just very different. And I liked this a lot better. It was much more enjoyable. It's not my favorite book, but like they're easy
Hmm.
reads,
Hmm.
and like it's a good mystery that passes the time. You're like, I
Sure.
wonder what happened. So definitely liked that. And then I've like I said, I've been reading a lot of novellas on audio,
Hmm.
and the first one I read was The Tusks of Extinction by Ray Nayler.
Oh, I didn't realize that one was a novella.
Yeah, it's much shorter. It's only 4 hours as
Okay.
a, so it may not be a novella, but I think it's like right on
I
the
think that's
cusp.
about a novella.
Um,
I just was seeing like the cover shared on Instagram and social media, and for some reason I had assumed that this was a large fantasy book.
yeah, it's a sci-fi novella. So Ray has written like another book that I own and I just haven't read yet.
Hmm. It's like
That
an
has a
octopus one, isn't it?
beautiful cover. Yeah, I think so. Let me see. It should be right on my wall. I can't see it from here, but
Again, a lot of people have shared the covers of these on social media, which is how I am guessing that this is an
yes.
octopus book.
Well, it's like a face on it, I thought, but maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, I can't find it on my shelves. But so The Tusks of Extinction is a sci-fi novella that's really trippy. And in the audiobook, one of the narrators has a very sharp accent that I had to be like, I'm gonna slow down a little
Hmm.
bit because I'm missing everything. Um, but it's
Sorry, just gonna
about,
interrupt you real quick. The mountain in the sea.
yes, that's it.
It does look like an octopus on the
Oh,
cover.
okay. Well then,
Or a
fair
squid of
enough.
some sort, maybe.
Fair enough.
Sorry.
But in
Continue.
this novella, there are these people who are bringing back mammoths after elephants have gone extinct. And
Hmm.
then you actually find out that they brought back a human, Demira Kismatulina. I butchered that last name so hard.
Okay.
She's brought back to help the mammoth like assimilate into the world as it is now because she's the leading expert. And so it's like shifting perspectives between her being brought back to life, um, a la the fall is all there is.
Hmm.
Because I was like,
Hmm.
oh, she was brought back. And I was like, this feels very Sam Kaplan coded.
Hmm.
Maybe Ray stole their idea. But she's kind of going through like the history of what she remembers. And she can only remember parts of herself because she only remembers up to when she was uploaded into the server, which is why it reminded me of so much of Sam Kaplan.
Hmm.
And it shifts perspectives to this like older man who's going on a mammoth hunt and this younger boy who's going on a mammoth hunt, and it's like going through all their different perspectives and all these different things. And it's very much about capitalism, about bringing back this life and how it could be
Sounds like a little bit of like an ethics
yes, it's
question
very
too.
ethical. And it was very interesting, like it was very thought-provoking. I kind of just sat there and took it in. I finished it while I was riding a bike actually.
Hmm.
But it's called a tense eco thriller. And I was like, yeah, that's true. It's like an
Wasn't there
thriller.
something recently where there were talks of like bringing back mammoths from extinction, or am I lying to myself again?
Maybe, I have no idea. But it was interesting, and she was actually murdered years ago, and
Mm.
like so there's all this like different functionality between the characters and their shifting perspectives and how they see the world and view it with like these mammoths. And so I really liked it. I thought it was a good book. I will say, like, at the end there's a shocking little twist that I was like, oh, I don't know if I needed that, but it's here.
Hmm.
Like, but one of the twists I saw coming, and I was like, oh, this is just really interesting, and I like this a lot. Great work. And then one of the twists, I was like, I don't know how I feel about that, but it was excellent, very well written. Um, and there are shifting audio book narrators, and one of them has a very thick accent, and I had a hard time listening to him. So be careful and listen to it a little
Okay.
bit slower than I usually do.
I
Um,
usually have to do that if anybody has any kind of accent.
yeah. And so then I
And also,
also,
I looked this up. They are in the process of de-extinction for woolly mammoths. So as of 2024. They
Well, read the
they
Tusks of Extinction and ask, should you? Look, we've all seen at least a Jurassic Park movie. Life finds a way.
so yeah.
So I guess that's a choice. And then I read the fourth and fifth books of the Singing Hill cycle by
Hmm.
Nevo, Mammoths at the Gates, and The Brides of High Hill. These are two of my favorite of the series. I actually
Okay,
think that they
you
are
and I
her
went to.
strongest.
I was gonna say you and I went to an author event in
Yeah.
Milwaukee, and we got to listen to Nevo. And didn't she say that those were some of her favorites?
Yeah, I think so. And they're my favorites, like
Yeah.
hands down. Like I enjoyed this series, but there's something about these books that like really stuck with me. I think because
Hmm.
so in these books, like the character who we're following, Cleric Tien, wait, no, sorry, Cleric Chi. Um,
Clergy.
Cleric Chi is returning home after all these events. So like in
Hmm.
the other books, you're kind of seeing Cleric Chi like in their earlier days where they're like setting out and learning all these different stories and like they're
Hmm.
just like
Hmm.
talking to people as they travel and the people are sharing stories with them, which is a very effective communication tool. It's used in a
Hmm.
lot of books. But like there was a little bit left wanting in those for me personally, where I was like, like I like these, but like she is so interesting, you know. These
Hmm.
books have Claire Chi returning home after all of their travels and after like
Okay.
life has kind of progressed for their companion animal and
Almost brilliant. Yep.
almost brilliant. And they, are just kind of getting settled in and they lost one of their like teachers who are their favorite in Mammoth at the Gate. And there is an argument over where the teacher's body should go because the teacher became this cleric, but their family wants them back. And it's
Hmm.
a whole discussion of like sharing memories and what memories should be shared versus what shouldn't be shared. And it's very complex and the themes were beautiful and I just loved that book so much. And then The Brides of High Hill, like Claire Chi is out and about again, but they're like helping this princess get ready for a wedding and there's like a
Hmm.
question of like is she safe and what's going on? And like the thriller aspect was so effective in this novella, Laura. I was obsessed with it. So these are my
Interesting.
favorite. uh 10 out of 10. They were 5 out of 5 stars for me. So everyone
Nice.
go read Nevo's book. And I did all of the series via audio. So it's
Okay.
always the same narrator. It's very effective.
Okay.
And I really like those books. So
I have
those,
all of them in print,
yes, you
so
do. So
I will have to read them
yeah,
all.
definitely. And a new book is coming out in October. So everyone go read them
Perfect.
all now to get ready for October. Um, So that's what I've been reading. For watching, I had something and then I completely. Oh, I forgot to tell you. I like binge season one and most of two of The Bear.
Oh, okay.
Like, I just started watching them. Like I'd already watched half of season one, like off and
Hmm.
on, and then I just sat down like 2.5 weeks ago. So I haven't talked about it on the podcast. And watched a bunch of it. And I was just like, this is great. I really
I need
like
to watch
this.
more episodes because there's the third and fourth season now, and I
Yeah.
haven't watched any of that. And I'm like, I need to get back at the bear.
That's the joke of like Ginny and Georgia. Ginny is still a sophomore when she's like 25 in real life, but the bear has 4 seasons. And they're like, what's going on
How
with
did they do this so
Netflix?
quickly?
Why is Netflix so bad at creating like actual
Hmm.
viewable TV shows? Because you binge it all. And then they're like, well, they binged it already. We'll just wait 10 years
Yeah.
to finish Stranger Things. And all
And
the
now
kids are
they're
12.
30.
I know. Like, so ridiculous.
Millie Bobby
Bobby
Brown
Brown
is
is
married
married.
to Bon Jovi's son now.
She is supposed to be prepubescent on that show. Just think about
Not,
that. That's
nope.
wild.
She's possibly like an old maid at this point.
I know. It's just so wild to me. That's always like when you're watching Stranger Things and they have the flashback episodes when they're like, look at how small she was. And she's like smaller digitally. And it's like, oh, she looks like, she's so old.
I stopped watching Stranger Things, I want to say after season 2. I can't even remember when I stopped watching, but they were still children.
Yeah, you stopped watching in season two then, because season
Hmm.
three is when it like kind of went off the rails and they're all
It
like,
got
how
shocking.
old are they? It
Yeah.
got real shocking. Um, so yeah, I watched season one and season two of The Bear. I'm gonna tell you, I really did not like Cousin when I started that series. And that episode
I
where
didn't either.
he's in his restaurant, and you had told me like, oh, I'm a huge fan of Cousin now. I think he's great. And I was
In
watching it, and I was
in
like, this is
season
gonna,
two.
yeah. And season two, he's great. And I remember watching it. I was like,
How far
wow,
are you in
this is.
season two? Have you
I'm
finished season
kind of.
two?
I don't know if I finished yet, but I'm
Because I
pretty
feel
pretty
like it
far.
was there's like two episodes back to back. One is like
Yes,
incredibly dark, and then
yes,
the one that it's followed with is very much focused on Cousin.
yes.
And that one, I was like, this is some of the best storytelling, and the way that they've put these episodes back to back
Yep.
is excellent. Honestly, some of the best TV I've ever
And
watched. There's
I'm
those two
gonna
episodes back to back.
I was so impressed with the storytelling because I did not like him. And it was one of those moments where I was like,
Hmm.
I'm gonna have to come on the pod and Laura's gonna be like, oh, Hannah dislikes one of the characters I like again. Here we go. And I was like, that's gonna not be great because it's never fun.
I
Those,
hated him in season one too, and
yeah.
honestly, through up until that point in season two.
Yeah. And like that episode of him at the restaurant, because that's what we're talking about, is some of the best storytelling, you're right, where like I was so heartbroken when at the end he like keeps telling them like I know Remy just sent me here as punishment, but I really
Yeah,
appreciate it. And everyone was like, he wouldn't do that. Do you know he's putting his name on the line to get you
yeah.
this training? Like he actually fully believes in like who
Hmm.
you are and what you're doing, and he
He
thinks you have
understands you
value.
and believes in you as a person. Like he wants you to
Yeah.
succeed. He wants everyone to succeed. And I think that was also in episode two when they said that it was very much like, oh yeah, he Carmi like deeply
Oh, I
understands
called
all
him
the
Remy
people that
like the
he
rat.
works with.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
So,
I am the first to admit, like after I watched season two, I was like, I did not enjoy season one very much. Season two, I'm sold, where I'm like, they
yeah.
had a plan, they executed it, and it went perfectly because season two was brilliant.
Season two was brilliant. And like Carmi's like blowout during like the first online
Yep.
orders, that was an excellent episode. Like there's so much where
Mhm.
like you
And the
feel for
acting is
him.
phenomenal.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. So yeah, I've been watching that. Great show.
Yeah.
Took me forever to finally finish season one. I think I didn't enjoy season one as much. I think you're right.
Yeah.
And then season two really just like it, for lack of a better
After I
word,
watched season one,
cooks.
because I watched it with like when it was like getting hyped up so much, I'm like, I just don't get it. I don't know why people like this show so much, why they think it's so great. And then they let season two free, and I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
they got it figured out.
Yeah. But so
And now they're
that's
cooking.
what
There's gonna be like three more seasons released by the time that they like
by
Millie
the
Bobby
time
Brown will have
Stranger Things
Millie
comes
Bobby Brown
out.
will be a grandmother on
Yeah.
Stranger Things.
Walking around like, oh, if only Mike would talk to me.
Like my hair's turning gray, but
Must be all that power I'm using. It really ages you. Um,
oh gosh.
yeah. So
They're not
just
gonna be able to explain some of that away.
I just don't understand why they haven't done a flash forward yet. Because they've admitted like, nope, this season's not a flash forward. And I'm like, you need one. Like you need
Yeah.
one
You know
five
what? It's weird
year
because
jump.
specifically Netflix is like that, where they cannot
Yeah.
seem to get shows out in a timely manner. Because I'm thinking, even like the Percy Jackson show on Disney Plus is a little bit faster than
Yes.
Netflix is.
I don't understand what it is about Netflix where they only have $2 to split amongst all of its shows and they always
Hmm.
pick Love Island. Like, fine, whatever, but Love Island is
Is Love Island
you
even on
is
that
it
channel?
not? I thought
I was
Love
say I
Island.
think it's on Peacock.
Oh, I was thinking
Love is Blind.
Love is Blind. Yeah, Love is Blind. They have Love is Blind all the time. You
Yeah,
guys could
they
use
like
that
every Valentine's Day they
to
release Love is Blind. It's like too
right. You
much
could
Love is Blind. They
you
all
could
are fake.
they're all fake. You could put some of that money towards Ginny and Georgia, a show I won't watch anymore because again, that
Or
little
like,
boy is now
developing
11.
shows a little more rather than just
Right.
canceling them after one season.
Oh my gosh, so wild. So, yeah, that's what I've been watching. Plus, some Umbrella Academy for TV Tuesdays that are upcoming. So,
Yay.
not this month. This month is Daredevil, but we will be
Soon to
having
be.
Umbrella Academy. So everyone go watch it because again, with Netflix having shows that take a million years to finish, they
That
did
was actually
finish
when they
Umbrella
finished.
Academy. I heard it's not going to be a great fourth season, but I've been rewatching season one and two, and
Season
boy,
one and two are so good.
those seasons are so freaking good. They're so
Season two is
rewatchable.
honestly another one that I would like venture to say like peak TV.
It was like just watching the development of all the different characters in season two, and like
Hmm.
you and I talk about it. making Luther and Diego big old dum-dums was the best thing that they've ever
Yes.
done. Like they were so funny together. They were
Hmm.
so ridiculous. Like uh that show's just so good. So
Yeah.
except season 3 was a little bit of a mess and I'm not
I
looking
I
forward
was
to
starting
season
to
4.
not like season 3, but season
Yeah.
4 I haven't watched yet, so I'm
I feel like they
nervous.
just really, I'm not to screw up what we're going to talk about, but they really did Allison dirty in season 3 where they're like, we're just going
That's
to give
not
her a
good.
villain
She's like
edit.
my favorite character.
I know, but like, and she had so much trauma, so they pointed it out effectively, but like other people had to point out why she was doing the things that she was doing. The show was really bad at showing it. I
Yeah.
don't know why. It was all right there.
Actually, I take that back. I forgot about Klaus. Klaus is my favorite
Klaus,
character.
Klaus is a standout character. You can't not pick Klaus.
Yeah.
He's
Never mind.
amazing.
Klaus is my favorite character, but then Allison might be number 2.
Yeah, I think so. I think Allison would have been my number 2 as well. So she's
Hmm.
number 3 on the
They're
show, I
ranked,
guess.
so I'm also going to rank them. They were 1 through 7, so I can
Yeah.
rank them as well.
Yes, exactly. We'll rank them on TV Tuesday. Join us
Yes.
on that day when we rank the siblings in the order of which
That they
we
should have
like
been.
them. Well, not on power, but how we personally prefer them,
How we
which is,
personally prefer them.
but honestly, that is how Reginald Hargraves rated them because you cannot tell me that
Absolutely.
Luther is the most important one. That's not true.
He's useless.
He's useless. So
Although I
someone
do
someone
like
said he once did
him.
it in reverse order, and that actually makes more sense if you think about their powers. Like,
But Allison has a pretty good power, though.
but if you think about it, like Ben's power is better, and then you have
Because
Klaus.
it's Luther, then Allison,
No,
and
it's
then
Luther, then Diego, then Allison.
oh, and
She's number
then
3.
okay, she's 3. I was thinking it was Luther then Allison. It's Luther, Diego. Yeah, Diego does not have
Useless.
a good power.
And then
Throwing things.
Allison, Klaus,
Klaus, then
and then
Ben.
5, and then Ben, and then Vanya. But if you think
Hmm.
about it, like Ben's power is fantastic. And so if
5
you
is
go,
maybe the best.
and 5 is, well, technically Vanya is the best, like for power sake, but like because 5 hadn't developed that strongly,
Yeah.
like he could just move places when they were
Hmm.
young. So like if you go in reverse order, it makes more sense. But we digress.
Yeah.
Um,
It's hard to get into all that.
well,
Wait, what was
but we
what was all
will.
of Ben's power though? He just has like that
He
squid inside of
was
him, correct?
he has like a monster inside of him that's able
Hmm.
to like move and eat people and rip them
Yeah.
apart and like that's
I
much better
suppose that is
than
useful.
it's much better than I can throw knives a little bit better than most humans.
That's true. Unless you're at like an axe throwing contest.
Yeah, he would have Diego would have rocked a good axe throwing.
He'd be really good at those timber sport events in Wisconsin.
Come on up, Diego. Well, should we get ba dum bum back into the year of the Dresden?
Let's do it.
All right, so we left off at Harry leaving Sheila's apartment
Hmm.
when sex was not on the table because they're both gentlemen. No. And
He
Kumori is
cares
waiting
about
for him outside. Kumori is one of the people who was trying to get the book where they were
women.
trying
Hmm.
to reason with Harry, and he thinks they're probably white council
Yeah.
because they keep their hoods covered. And she tries to, again, reason with him. She does make him take off his ring and his bracelet, and he's like, my fingers don't work anymore. And she asks for his copy of the book. He said, you'd have to talk to the corpse taker. And then he called the corpse taker a he. And I was like, why is he a he? And he's like, well, I'm sure he's a body switcher. And I was like, when did we find that out? Because I don't
Here's
remember.
I don't remember that, but I honestly wondered if it was something because he mentions later that he hates like fighting with and hitting women. And I was like,
Yeah.
is this something to make it more convenient for him to feel okay getting into an
He
altercation with this character?
He does say if it's magical beings, he feels better about it. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think this was just
Yeah, like
backtracking.
he can't hit a girl.
Well, and
So,
he does say that the corpse taker originally took her boss's form, the professor who died, and then he
mhm.
switched over to her when he was dying. So it was just a whole thing. But I did get really confused, and I was like, when did we learn this? And apparently Laura doesn't remember
I
either.
don't remember
So
that either.
here we
So,
are. And so she is like, you should come join our side or get out of the ring. Because if you get in the ring, we're gonna have to kill you, and no one wants that to happen.
mhm. He gets a
And
lot of threats in this section of the book.
I know. And he tries to reason with her and be like, I'll take you to the White Council. And I was like, dude, she's probably White Council.
Right.
What are you talking about? And she talks about the fact that like if they had the power of necromancy, they could figure out how to stop their death and just continue on and figure out how to work all this magic. And
Here's my
Harry's
thing though. Is it stopping death if you're dead, but then you're just like reanimate? Like you're still dead.
I
I
think it's
don't.
I think it's the in the eye of the zombie, Laura.
I guess
Life is just in the eye of the dead
we're
person. So,
getting into Walking
like,
Dead theory territory here.
but also it bugs me a lot because he's like, yeah, live forever. The White Council wizards live until 300, but we could do more work. And I'm like, 300? My dad doesn't want to live past 82. Like, what are you talking about?
So I'm not gonna lie, I saw you mentioning this. I saw a video of like the world's oldest man or something uh on Facebook or something, and people were like celebrating his birthday or whatever. This man looked miserable. Like
It's like the old shark that they found in the
he's like
water was like the
110 or
oldest
something like
shark
that.
alive, and she just
And
has no teeth, and she looks like she wants to go any minute.
they're
Like,
like bringing out a cake and singing to this poor man, and he's like just sitting there like, oh my gosh. And then he
not
gets
another one.
right. He gets up to like leave, and they're all like surrounding him because they're trying to help him because he obviously doesn't move that well, and he's so hunched over and everything. I'm like, this poor man looks incredibly miserable.
My poor grandpa, I
He's
think,
not having a
died.
happy birthday.
I think my grandpa died at age 92. And literally, he met the new priest at his church like 2 weeks before he died at our family Christmas. And the priest was like, wow, this is a really wonderful family you built. Must be so amazing to celebrate like this because there's like hundreds of us at this Christmas. And
Mhm.
my dad, grandpa goes, yep, ready to die.
Oh my gosh.
But Harry is like, 500, here I come.
I know.
Like,
I'm I don't know. I want to live a long life, but when you see like some of these old people like that, you're like, you're making it sound less appealing.
I'm, you know what? I'm good at 82. So anyway, Harry's just like, 500, here I come. And then he's like, you know what? I can't do it. It's getting too dark, but my offer is still open. I can't let this happen. I can't take the chance that it's going to get with the corpse taker or with Gravane. Like, no, you guys are way in over your head. So she's like, well, I guess we'll see you and do what we must, Harry. So then he goes back to his car, and he gets out a few things to summon the Urkling,
Hmm.
so that he can head on over and do that. But
It's like a
first,
dark hollow or something like that, right?
yeah, he
Yeah.
has to get like a dark hollow and things and like
Hmm.
just protection.
Yeah.
And so then he goes over to McNally's. He talks to an old man who watches his car for him while the
Hmm.
lights are out because it's Chicago. Then he goes into Max, and people are there while the lights are still out, but like everyone is congregated there because it has
And
old
they're still
lamps.
serving food.
Yeah, I mean, he does service magical community, so like everything's
Yeah.
going to short circuit if he doesn't use old-timey stuff. So apparently
Hmm.
he has a full service kitchen.
He just has like a fire in the back
But
going.
Harry is the most reasonable person in the world, and he's like, "Hey guys, it's about to get real dark and dirty, so get behind a threshold so that people can't
Hmm.
come in without invitation." And everyone bustles out but Mac, and Mac's like, "You want a burger, Harry?"
Of course
And
he
he
does.
and he services
This is
him.
maybe the book that food is mentioned more than any other book that we've covered on the show.
I don't know. Oh, I mean, it's the series where food is the most mentioned because Harry
Maybe not the
talks a
book, but the
lot
series
about
for sure.
food.
Yeah, yeah.
He drinks lots of Coca-Colas. He
Yeah.
drinks almost as
He
many
eats
as I do.
pizza. He loves deep dish. Like
Yeah.
he's eating a lot.
And then who comes in but the man I couldn't remember his name of last book, Morgan.
Morgan, yes. And let me just say, this is a deeply paranoid man, and I wonder if that's why I'm connected to him so much, where I'm like, is this why I feel so connected to this character? He's so paranoid, and I'm like, so are you, Laura. Like maybe that's why you're like, we have a kinship. Like,
Laura's besties with Morgan. We found
because
out his
we're
first
both
name is
paranoid.
Donald, so Morgan is his last
Mhm.
name.
Don
Uh,
Morgan. Hmm.
Don Morgan, yep. And so Harry's like, I didn't know his first name was Donald. Uh, and he and Max seem to like be fine together.
Mm-hmm.
And then a warden Lucio comes in. This is the matriarch of the wardens,
Yeah.
and she seems to be reasonable. She also brings in Warden Ramirez, who's pretty young, and two more wardens. And we find out like this is all who's coming
Yeah.
because the Red
This was
Court.
actually a wild twist. I did not expect.
I didn't expect it either, but like I mean, she did answer the phone, so like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, Butcher set it up and then
Yeah.
delivered. Where she where we find out that the Red Court had like this huge offensive
Mm-hmm.
where they attacked in Cairo. Several wardens were taken alive.
And this is
Um,
also interesting too because like I didn't think about this, but they mentioned like it's super dangerous for wizards to be taken by vampires because then they could change them and then have all of the knowledge of
and
the
power of them,
wizards. Yes, they
like
could
their
utilize the
power
power
doesn't go
and then like
away.
know all about what all of the wizards are doing or have done or how they do what they
Yes.
do.
And they kind of like did a bait and switch where they said like all these powerful, the Red King was like somewhere, so they went on the attack.
Hmm.
And then they like took them all out with like this gas where they were
Hmm.
betrayed by a warden and they don't know who did it. And like Lucio is just like so many have been wounded. This is bad. So many wardens were taken out, so like the council is no longer what it was.
Right.
And she actually says that McCoy was injured, where Harry is like, I have this like love-hate relationship with McCoy because he was supposed to murder me. He's double oh
Ebenezer
007.
McCoy. Well, because
Um
he's got a license to kill,
he's got a
literally.
license to kill literally. Never not funny that Ebenezer McCoy is the double oh 007.
Also, yeah, exactly. A man named Ebenezer McCoy
I mean,
has
and
a
so
license to kill.
they had to come with like just the lot of them because it's just not going to go great. And they're
Hmm.
trying to get the fairy courts to mobilize, but they're being like wishy-washy on if they're going to help the wardens
Right.
in the court and like, or sorry, in the White Council.
Hmm.
And so she says, "Hey, Dresden, guess what? You're a warden now
You're a
of
warden.
the
He's actually
Midwest
like, I cannot
region."
be a warden. And they're like, well, too bad.
And Morgan's like, "He cannot be a warden."
Morgan's like, I'm so worried about him being a warden. It can't happen.
Well, and Harry does like take her aside and he's like, "Hey, Morgan has like all of these things against me. He's not
He's like,
reasonable
literally,
with
he's
me."
trying to kill me.
And he does say like, "Look, like all of this happened like a couple books ago." And she has a moment where you realize she had no idea this happened, and if
Yes.
she had known, it would have been a problem.
Hmm.
And so
She's like, well,
Morgan,
that was never reported to HR, so that sucks. Because now we've already done the paperwork to make you a warden.
and now
So
we can't demote him because we're in a bind. So, I guess
this
that's just
really sucks
happening.
because we only listened to Morgan and
Yeah.
now we're in trouble.
So Harry's just like, okay, I guess we're getting up to fight. And she's like, well, we're gonna need more like you. Like, and oh no, this was Ramirez also like talks to him and says, like, hey, we like people like you. I think that happens later in the book, but
Hmm.
Ramirez and Lucio both seem to be on board for Harry, and
Yes.
Morgan is just in the corner pouting about it.
He is
So
very not okay.
he's was he ever okay, Laura? Like I
I
know there's a
mean,
kinship,
no,
but he was never okay.
no,
Like
he's worried. He's anxious. He's got terrible paranoia.
yeah. And so Harry goes
Trusts no
back
one.
to Murph's and he has his whole discussion with Butters and Thomas about what's going to be happening, how they all have to like get down to brass
He's
tacks.
like, Thomas, you need to hide.
Yeah, you need to get out of here. Like the White Council is going to be crawling all over it. This is not going to go well. And so they have to go. He's going to try to get Erkling out by sundown, pretty much.
Hmm.
Um, and he has to work on all of this. Okay, so they kind of just have a little powwow on like what Butters can do to help, and how they talk about like the thresholds and how it's powerful, and how like Murph's house is a lot safer for Butters. Um, and they also kind of have like a little like, here is some discussion of what you need to know for this. Like necromancers don't just have to use zombies; they could use ghosts.
Well, because this is where Butters is like asking, like, why do they use humans? And why do they do this? And they're like, well, it happens to be related to strength. And
Harry's like, look, Harry says, look, Jim Butcher developed a plan and I'm gonna tell you about it.
We
And then
finally have a plan 7 books in. So here's the situation.
your parents went away on a week's vacation.
I love that cold
Um,
open.
I talk about it all the time. And so, but then Butters gets to the moment where Jim Butcher's like, well, I'm done telling you about the development of
Hmm.
my plot. So, Bob, you're gonna tell him all these answers. Um, and
Which is
so,
usually Bob's job.
yeah. And then Harry slips out to call the Urkling, and he's getting ready with Mouse. He doesn't feel like a wizard. Uh, so he heads on out to the backyard and he uses the energy of the night and a used copy of The Hobbit. uh, and he goes into the circle and he like tries to make sure he's protected and he brings the Urkling out. And the Urkling is terrifying. He wants him to join him for the hunt. He's just kind of like, I threaten the queens and you're afraid of them, so you should be afraid of me. Men suffer and they die all the time. Harry Dresden, join my hunt.
And
Um,
Harry's very like not amused. He's just like, meh, nah.
Here's just like, I say 3 times, I will not release you. And so he gets just smacked upside the head and the
Yeah,
Urkling escapes. So, um,
not
and
great.
and Cowell is right there saying it's such a pity someone with talent so young has to die. And I mean, his protege did warn him, so
Hmm.
um, and, and Harry says, "When do you people sleep?" Because Kamori and I have been taking turns tailing you most of the day. Uh, and they have their little powwow and how everyone's like just coming down for the final showdown, and Harry
Hmm.
has to be stopped, and Cowell will stop at nothing to make sure he doesn't breathe anymore. Um, and Harry points out that Cowell still doesn't have the word like he's supposed to, like
Right.
Gravane has now, and he tells
The
him
the
that the
Kremlin, right?
Gravane, hmm?
Like the Kremlin thing,
Yeah, the
right?
Kremlin. It's
Yeah.
called like the Word of
Hmm.
Kemler.
Yeah.
So they don't have the copy of the book, but Gravane does. And so he doesn't even know what to do. Oh, and then they
Uh,
step into the Never Never.
yeah.
So, Harry goes back in, he checks on Butters and Mouse, and Butters said
Well,
like,
Bob is kidnapped at some point.
"Oh yeah, they
Where does
kidnapped
this
Bob.
happen?
They ran into Murph's house and they kidnapped Bob. You are
Yeah,
correct."
I was gonna say because I feel like we missed that part
Well,
where Bob is kidnapped, and because then Harry's like all worried because he's like because Butters like
so we
says something
didn't
like, "Why is that a big deal?" And he's like, "Because he knows everything. Because he belonged to Justin and he belonged to what's his plot
Kemler.
before? Yes, Kemmler."
So no, well, this is he's talking to Butters and they're having like a little powwow, like is
Hmm.
everyone all right? And that's when Harry realizes that Bob's gone because even if they don't have the word or the Book of Kemler, they have Bob who helped create it,
Right.
which I thought was interesting that it didn't come back that Harry told him to forget everything.
Yeah,
Because he
that's
literally
true.
said, forget everything and never let anyone let you like unforget. And then he just unforgets, and I was like, I feel like we needed some type of reason for that, and Butcher
Hmm.
never gave it to us, but I digress. So
No, that's
Harry's just
very
like,
true.
we're in big trouble right now. Bob knows everything.
Hmm.
There's only so much we can do, and like it's gonna take a miracle to pull this all up. So, um, he then says he has to first go check on Sheila to make sure she won't be
Yes,
harmed because
he cares about
Cowell
women.
because Cowell and his sidekick have been tailing him all day and they know
Hmm.
that that's his weak spot. I'm like, hey, Harry, I get it from the chivalrous aspect, but I don't get it from the like, they have better things to do.
Right.
Like,
Also, like he hasn't known her that long. The fact that they just know that his weak spot is like any woman that he's talked to more than 5 minutes is pretty
yeah.
lame.
And so she comes out wearing a Bears football jersey when he goes over to her
Yeah, I
apartment and
forgot
leaves
about this.
Butters downstairs. And here's my thing. It says made of soft cotton, so I get that, but like Bears football jerseys typically aren't made out of soft cotton. They're
I feel
like
feel like they're like really thick.
yeah, and like very like specific type of material that wouldn't be comfortable for bed.
Hmm.
Like you would never just wear a jersey to bed,
You
really.
are if you're trying to be Chicago sexy.
With pink slippers. And, she had the curves to make it look more appealing than it had any right to be. And so he's like,
That
hey,
is
why did you
Chicago sexy. All she has to do is like have some deep dish pizza next to the bed.
just rub it on her chest?
Hmm.
And so Harry is like, I thought you were supposed to be at a Halloween party. And she's like, I decided not to go. And I'm
That
surrounded
bears.
by these candles, and I'm not a figment of your imagination. And they're having
Oh wait.
a moment, and then Butters comes in, and he's like, who are you talking to? And
He's like, can't you
Harry
see this incredibly hot woman?
Harry has a moment where he is Job and he goes, it's an illusion.
Yes.
My illusions, Dad. And he realizes that it's Lashiel. Lashiel? I always say it
Lashiel, I think is what
Lashiel.
how they said it in the audiobook, if I'm
Uh,
remembering right.
it's
Lashiel.
it's Lashiel. And she's like, I needed to show that I could be useful to you, so I put on this jersey and
What
made
a
myself
weird thing
pretty
to just
for
be
you.
like, you know what? I'm just trying to help. And so I'm just presenting myself
And
in the
I
way that's most palatable to you.
And Harry's like, dang, she hadn't been kissed in such a long time. And I'm like, Harry, no, we're not doing this. We're not saying, you know what was the real part of this? The kiss. We're not doing that. That's not happening.
You know what? I feel like that's kind of what this book needs, and like what Harry needed in general is just like somebody to be like, stop the scene, stop. Harry, no.
Because I
As
have to,
your legal counsel, we cannot go forward with this.
but she had to help me, Laura, and she had kissed me. Sure, a kiss was just a kiss, but her desire for it, her
Oh
hesitation,
gosh.
the sense of yearning to her had been genuine. No, it wasn't. This
No.
is an evil fallen angel, and you
Yeah.
cannot convince me otherwise. This woman did not care about kissing you.
No, no,
She
no,
was
no.
trying to get you on board, my guy. Don't do it.
It's a
Stop it.
manipulation.
STOP, new word IT, okay? Um, and she's like, "Come on, just let me help you. Take on my powers. We can do this together." And Butters is sitting there like, "Harry, who are you talking to?"
He's so confused. And this is also where I'm like, okay, throughout this entire time, all of the people around Harry have been like really concerned about him. And now it's finally like making me feel so justified that I called this earlier where I'm like, yeah, they were very concerned. Like, what the heck is going on here? We're
I
worried
know.
about you. You're talking to yourself, man.
And Harry's just like, she could make me stronger. Like, even the weakest Denarian I saw was like way more powerful than me. So I could do this. I could make sure I could protect
No.
everyone. Um, and so Butters is like, dude, what's going on? And Harry says, like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm gonna do it on my own. And she runs away into the distance saying, that kiss was real. And
It
Harry's
was
like,
real to me.
it was real to me. Every minute mattered, Harry. I'm not evil. And then Butters is like, what happened? And Harry's like, an illusion.
Well,
Uh,
he has a moment where he's, or I mean, this might not have happened yet, where he says something like, "Well, what about you, Poke Boy?" or something like that. I can't remember
I
exactly what
forget
that
when that
is,
happens, but he does say Poke Boy at one moment.
which made me
Um,
laugh.
and Harry's like, Butters is like, are you insane? And he's like,
Yeah,
no, I'm not insane.
and that's where it is,
Oh,
where he
look who's
questions.
talking, Poke Boy.
Yeah, look
Yeah.
who's talking, Poke Boy.
And then Harry said he thinks he knows how to get the word of Kemmler, but he needs uh Butters' help. And so then they go on down the streets into and they get like a bunch of stuff
Hmm.
where Harry has to like sense some type of technology to see where they're going to be that evening. It's called like Murphyonic Field. Um and it like will sense where like the power is emanating
Right.
from. So they break into Radio Shack and Butters has a huge problem about it. And oh, that's what it is. I'm sorry. Scratch that, reverse it. They have to break into the Radio Shack because he realizes that the string of numbers was specifically a latitude and longitude, and they have to be like very specific with it using the
Hmm.
sensor from Radio Shack. But they also couldn't steal the best one, I guess, because they did it, and
Right.
then they have to like do a lot of like trial and error, and it takes them all the way to the Field Museum. This is the
Of course it
moment where
does.
I said, "Oh fuck, Sue is there."
Sue was mentioned too much for
I
this
said,
not to
damn
be.
it. Sue has been mentioned so often. We're making a dinosaur live, aren't we? Um,
And this
And
is our Jurassic Park moment.
and they go into the Bill's Wild West show because, of course, that's where the word will be hiding.
Hmm.
And
Well, and then like
Harry,
Butters has to use like polka beats or like a polka song
well,
on
this is
the
when they
drum.
finally get into life, but at the time, Harry just finds the word that's been hiding.
Oh, okay.
It's the book, and he
Okay,
speed
so
reads
and then
it
this
for
is where Gravane shows up, right?
yes,
Okay.
yes. So Harry finds the book. Gravane shows up because he's just been following Harry because everybody
Hmm.
be letting Harry do their homework for them. And Harry speed reads it because Sheila's gonna come back.
Yeah.
Um, and then they're all like Gravane throws snakes at him. Liver spots comes into
Yeah.
view.
Hmm.
And liver spots, luckily, he says
I was just
Cassius
like, don't remember,
Snake
don't you
Boy
remember me?
liver spots, and then it is Snake Boy himself. And I was like, thank you for mentioning him in previous chapters, because I would
Hmm.
have forgotten who the fuck that was. Um, and so he like Gravane leaves him and liver spots is gonna kill him because Butters had to run and leave the room.
Yeah.
Uh, and Snake Boy Cassius Quintus really just wants to know where Harry has the coin because it must be
Hmm.
on him because Harry must have taken in the fallen angel. Da 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 da. Like he's like, I don't even like Lasheel that much, but she's better than nothing because she's a good good
Sure.
good girl. I can only assume. And Harry's like, I dumped it under concrete, you idiot. I would never let myself actually utilize this power if I didn't have to.
Have
And
ethics.
and
I'm Harry
Cassius is
Dresden. I
like,
have ethics.
well, then I'm gonna kill you. And he starts beating him up. And then Mouse comes back and he beats the shit out of
Oh,
Cassius.
he's like chomping
I
people
know.
viciously.
And we find out that Butters came back after he had run away just to help Harry, and he helps fight them
Which
all.
he has this moment where he's like, I was trying to run away, but then I remembered all the good stuff that you did for me, and I didn't think I could run away.
But of course, as
Oh,
Quintus is about to die and Mouse is about to chomp him, he yells out his death curse, which is "Die alone." Um,
which is so sad. So sad. Harry's like major fear is dying alone. So what a cruel thing to yell at someone like that. Oh my gosh.
Also, the wherewithal for Cassius to be like, "I'm about to be chopped by a giant dog." Just giving a death curse to Harry won't matter. Dying alone will. I'm like, wow, the foresight on this man. Like,
It's so
Cassius
many
gone
death
too
threats.
soon. And so Harry like passes out and he talks to Lasheel and she's kind of like, "Hey, dude, you sped read that, so I would tell you how to fix it. Like, you knew you needed me. You were always going to accept this.
Hmm.
Just do this." Um, and oh, and Harry's also fighting with himself during this, isn't he? Like there's an alternate Harry. Yeah, there's an alternate
Yes,
Harry who's
because they're
like,
yeah, they're like talking to each other
well, Harry has a talk with his favorite person who is himself. So,
himself, but
um,
they're like telling there's like they yell shut up at the same point and everything too, I think. Isn't that
yeah.
right?
Yes, and they're like talking to each other about if they want to survive, if they actually want to use the shield, and if they should. Um, and you know, Harry's just like, okay, I'll use her this time, the shadow of a memory who will be someone I have to battle in the future. So
Mm-hmm.
then he wakes up, and this is where Butters is like, I remembered all the things you did, and like that
Yeah.
you gave me purpose. And
You're the wind beneath my wings.
and I'm the beat for your dinosaur.
I'm the beat to your polka rhythm.
And so Harry is like, hey, good job. And they have a moment of like, what does die alone mean? So that's fun.
Harry's like, I have thought too much about what die alone means.
And so Harry decides that a little bit of necromancy might not be the worst thing, but if he
Hmm.
did it with people, he would be like signing his own death warrant.
Right.
And
But if
so
he does it with dinosaurs,
but if he does it with
cool.
dinosaurs, it's honestly fair game. And no
It's
one thought of
actually
this
like the
loophole.
coolest
Like
thing ever.
it's actually Harry actually gets to ride on the back of Sue. Um,
Who's surprisingly well trained. Like,
she is so well trained. Like, you know what? Well, it's because honestly, it's because Butters has a great beat to his drum, which later Harry says, "Don't worry, Sue will hear it." And I'm like, "No, she won't. There's
how
so
would she
many
hear it?
things going on. You should have taken Butters
How
into
do we
battle
know
with
if
you."
dinosaurs have excellent hearing?
I I can almost promise you that they do not. Like,
I gotta Google it.
have you ever seen Meet the Robinsons, Harry? I have a big head and
Her
little
little
arms.
arms.
So you have tiny ears. And so she's really well trained. She's just running down lake as it's all Lakeshore Drive. It's always happening on the north side. They're always like the north side really needs to have battles. It's because they have the infrastructure to rebuild. So you know what? Good on you, Butcher. So they go up to Evanston and they're going to where the party is with all the Urkling and all the
Yeah, the Earthlings there.
zombies, and everyone's fighting, and so are the wardens, and they're all just going after one another. And then the
Well, doesn't
corpse
he?
taker.
I was gonna. Oh, okay. We haven't got there yet.
No, what we're
Doesn't he kill uh Corpse Taker?
Yes.
Okay.
So the corpse taker comes up, because Morgan is like, I don't trust you still. And the corpse taker comes up and starts fighting them. And
Yeah.
Lucio and Harry run after the corpse taker, and
Mm-hmm.
Harry sees Lucio kill the corpse taker, but
Yes.
he knows that the corpse taker jumps into the person who's about to kill it to survive.
Yes.
And so Harry up and shoots Lucio. And of course, guess who sees it? But Morgan. And
Morgan.
Morgan goes crazy and like starts trying to kill him. And Harry's like, there's more context to this story, Morgan. And he's like, I always knew you were bad news.
He's like, I'm gonna start going at you with everything that I have.
And he's like, please stop. Like her intention was like she took over Lucio. This is a done deal. And he is trying so hard to live. And Morgan is like showing that he can pack a wallop. It's a whole
Mm-hmm.
thing. And Harry realizes that Morgan's just like a burned out cop who like can't see the forest for the trees anymore, that he's been too
He literally,
involved.
I think, called him that, didn't
Yeah,
he?
he calls him a burned out cop. He's like, "Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I've seen people like this all the time. They're people who like justice is all they can see and they cannot see context and like he
Mm-hmm.
will kill me. That's it." Um and he's like very scared that Morgan's going to like kill him with a death curse or something, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
Butters is just sitting there pounding his polka drums, being like, "Sue has to
The way that
help."
he is able to keep that beat, I
Yeah,
through it all.
I know. And then Ramirez
You can't
ends up
stop that beat.
um Ramirez is there with who the corpse taker used to be, and it's definitely
Yes.
Lucio now, where
Mm-hmm.
she's like, dude, the corpse taker jumped into me and I was able to jump into like the old body. And I'm like, that poor college student who just died. Like, oh my gosh.
It's actually really unfortunate when you like kind of think about it, where it's like,
Two people were murdered so Lucio could survive.
yeah.
And Morgan's kind of like, oh my gosh, boss, I'm so sorry. But also, I'm not because I hate that
Also, I
guy.
still really think that Harry needs to die, is what he's
Like, I
saying.
really just don't trust him.
I
Um,
really feel that he's the big bad here.
and Harry's like, look, we gotta go. So much more is happening. And Ramirez is like, I'm coming with you. And this is where they leave Butters behind to like beat on his drum, I guess, loudly enough for a dinosaur to hear
Just
as it
like, okay,
runs.
if you reanimate a dinosaur that is cool as Sue, you have to keep that going as long as possible. You can't just be like, okay, well that was a good 10 minutes, so we're done. You're like,
Well,
no, Butters, keep it going until we get back.
Butters, you have to come with us. I'm so sorry I'm putting you in more danger, but you did sign up to wear your polka costume. That's all that there is to it. And we did find out that Ramirez soul gazed with
Yes.
Lucio's new body. So,
Hmm.
and he's kind of like, hey, this is where he's like, hey, you know, a lot of us kind of agree with you. We think that like the old way is in fact old, and
Hmm.
these 300-year-old wizards could learn a thing or two if only
They
they
need to
lived for
get with the
500
times.
years. Like, um, and Harry is kind of like, and Ramirez is like, I do this because, like, if we die, then we're legends. And if we live, we're heroes. Like, you know, it's just like one of those where he's like, it's all arrogance at the end of the day.
Hmm.
Um, and they talk about Kumori and all of them and how they have to do this final showdown.
Hmm.
Um, and it's just, I don't know. I kind of blanked out on this section because Sue loses control because no one is there to have the beat of the
Yeah.
drum.
There's
And
more necromancy that occurs, isn't there?
yeah, there's a bunch more necromancy as like people are just
Yeah.
bringing these things to task. Griffain's making his zombies that he's like, die, die, die. Um, there's a bunch of like people trying to kill everyone. It's just like
Hmm.
um and
Also, there's a
here
couple times when Harry like yells out something. It's not fuego, but it's something else. And
Frozer,
yeah, Rosaire and
Frozer.
Frozaire, yes. And whenever Marsters does this, I, I I just cackle because him yelling any of these spells is just hilarious. Like
That's true.
Rosaire. It makes me
Well,
laugh
and then
so much. Takes me right out of the book.
Ramirez sneaks behind Gravain and just like slits his throat.
Yeah.
And Harry, he's like, he didn't even have time to get his death curtains out. And Harry's like, he never believed he would die. And then they have to go after Cowell, who has Bob there.
Hmm.
Um, and he's using Bob to like try to get to the Urkling.
Yes.
And Paul's my husband. Harry is like, Bob, you have a choice here. You could come back to me. Like you and I have worked together for years. And he sees Bob like trying to fight it as he's
Hmm.
giving Cal what to do. And then Harry sees that there's just a little blink of a blue, and Bob winked at Harry. Because Bob is a flirt. No.
He's
And so
loyal.
Cowell is like continuing to chant, and then Harry shouts that Bob has his permission, and the skull comes out, and he fights against the horrible vortex. And he sees that he's like another spirit trapped in the vast
Yeah.
maelstrom. But if the Dark Hollow was completed, he would be trapped and devoured. But he sees
And
that it's
this
kind
is
of
like the whole resealing of the Urkling, correct?
yes, to like utilize its power. And Cowell's about to take it all in, and it's a power enough to change the world and turn him into a god. And he thinks that Bob hasn't been able to help him, and so he um, brings in one last spell, and then Komori tries to send like a knife out to kill him. And then he says, the dinosaur he summoned plunged through the crowd and like takes out Komori pretty much. Um, doesn't kill her because she has to come back in future books. Um, but Harry flings himself into the grass and swings a baseball bat at Cowell's head. The blow connects, and he is unable to take in all of that power, and blackness falls. So, you know,
And
Harry
then there's just
comes,
like a bunch of bodies.
yeah. Well, Harry comes to, and the Urkling is like there, and he's like, you've called forth for me, and like that's a pretty big deal.
Hmm.
And Harry's just like, yeah, I'm definitely arrogant, and you're poor, and you are poor game at the moment. Or no, sorry, Harry's just kind of confident about it, and Urkling
Hmm.
says like, you're poor game at the moment, but like, don't think that this doesn't mean I won't call out to you
Right.
in the future. And so Harry talks to Bob, and they're like, "Oh, you came back! Like, thank you for all your help. We're best buds. You're my best friend." Um, and Bob tells him that the spell backlashed when Harry slugged Cowell. Um, and so he looks over at Gravain's battered corpse. He goes into the pockets and he takes out Kemmler's slender little book so he can repay Mav. Um, and Bob makes a joke about how size does matter. And then um, council member listens to Win shows up, who I will call Joe and not by the slur that is involved. Joe shows up, uh, where Morgan's just like, I don't like how all of these things keep happening at once. I am paranoid, and that is my personality trait. Um,
Because yeah, they're drafting him in as
yes.
a warden. Yeah. Hmm.
Oh yeah, because they draft Harry as a warden.
That's why Morgan's like upset.
Yes. And then Harry, it's kind of just like they all leave. Harry goes and he meets Mavra, and he threatens her that if she ever tries to use Murph against him again, he will do everything in his power to just rip her to shreds. and she doesn't want that because Queen Mab has asked him to take over the mantle of Winter Knight. He's read Kemmler's book, and he knows how the Dark Hollow works.
And he's
So,
got Bob, who has
yep,
like all these Kemmler ties.
yes, and so he's just like, ha 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 ha. This is a weird moment where like Butcher usually breaks these types of scenes apart, and he's just like,
Mhm.
nope, it's gonna be all in one quick
Yeah.
chapter. um, because then he sees a dream image of his father, and his father's like, Harry, everyone dies alone. You literally go to the grave in the other world alone. That guy was stupid when he used that as a death curse.
It is one of those things though where it's like, yeah, he always is like haunted by that kind of stuff. Or
I
I do
know.
kind of appreciate like we have at the beginning of most chapters where Dresden has or Harry Butcher has Dresden. Butcher and Dresden are the same person.
Yeah.
Where Dresden is like contemplating these things, you know, and he's talking about like, oh, death. I never thought that I would die at such and such or whatever. And so it's not surprising to me at all that like somebody yelling "die alone" to
Would hit
him
her.
would hit him so hard.
It's so funny though because that man could have killed him with words, and instead he's going to kill him with feelings.
Hmm.
Because like most people die alone. That is, you don't like
Yeah,
die with anyone and go into the other world. So it's just like if Harry went to therapy, I think he would handle this better. But then, Harry's dad tells him life isn't simple, Harry. And Harry looks at the grave and it says he died doing the right thing. God, I hope so.
he
Laura can't
died
handle
doing
that. Uh,
the right
that's
thing.
one of our clips on our TikTok right now. Is you going, it says you like died, whatever, and I go, he died doing the right thing, and you go, oh, worse.
It's terrible.
Um,
But I
and
guess it
so
helps him sleep at night.
Murph comes back, and Hawaii was interesting. She looks like she had a huge fall, or she got into a brawl of some sort. And they're both worse for wear, and they might trade stories one day. And Captain Lucio died or rehabilitated, but she had been relieved of command, and Morgan took her place. Why? She
I don't
knows he
understand.
violates. HR should have been called on that man, and you're just letting him be. You know what? That's how power works. Bad people get promoted, Laura. Um,
He has too many connections.
and he says, Harry, I might have been wrong about you, but I don't like
Might
you, and I
have.
think you're dangerous.
Might have.
He says, I might have been wrong about you in the way I acted, but also I was right. That's
He's
what he
like,
says.
it's one of those deals where it's like, they told me to apologize, and I'm going to say I apologize, but I don't mean it at all.
Yeah. And he says, I don't think you have evil intentions, but I think you have questionable actions, which, you know what, I actually agree with about
That
Harry.
I think is an okay statement. But
Um,
Morgan, come on.
I know.
Morgan needs therapy more than Harry almost.
And
So
Harry says that someone needs help out in LA, and it's Ramirez. And Harry got a nice little paycheck from them. And then several weeks later, Harry gets a Christmas present from Butters. Uh, and it's an old wooden guitar for his hand therapy so that Harry can have his hand back.
Mhm.
And he has a little flickum bickus moment where he starts fire and he's shocked because it didn't scare him. And Harry says that Butters is a pretty good healer for a mortician. The end.
I love that a mortician is like one of the
Deadbeat.
main characters in a necromancy book. That's hilarious.
That is very funny. I do also like that Butters doesn't really like involve his job too much.
No.
He's just a person interested in things, and that's his biggest power. It's like, I'm honorable and I like things. And it's like, hey, that's a pretty good character trait, like for a
And you know,
random.
we don't give morticians enough credit in real life or in like
Yeah.
media. So I think it's kind of fun actually that this mortician has a little more depth and is not just there for like a single scene.
Huh, you would love the show True Calling.
Interesting.
It's a show about a woman who works in like a morgue, and
Oh, okay.
bodies will be like, "Help me." And then she goes back in time and has to help them not die.
Oh, cool.
It's a really good show. I think it has Eliza Dushku from I think it has
Okay.
Eliza Dushku in it. I think she might be
From Bring It
true, but
On.
I forget. That's a great television series that got canceled too soon. Oh yeah, that was Eliza Dushku. Um, a lot of
And
my favorite
Dahas.
TV shows apparently have her in it. Oh yeah, and It has Zach Galifianakis in it. I forget about that.
Really?
Yeah. Um, it was only on there for 2 seasons.
Hmm.
Because in the second season she gets a foil and it's a man who wants people to die because that's
Oh.
supposed to be what happened. Like he's like a protector of the timeline kind of
Hmm.
energy. Um, Oh, great show. We should cover that on TV Tuesday
Okay.
for random people who loved this one random show from the early 2000s.
There's so
Um,
many like weird niche like fandoms. Like
I know.
so many people love Pushing Daisies and it was
Oh,
not on
uh,
for very long. Like I love Pushing Daisies and I was just like so surprised to find that there's like a huge group of people that are like, this show is amazing.
freaking love Pushing Daisies and it got canceled too
Yep.
soon. What a good show, Chuck. Well, Laura, I'm excited for the future of the Dresden Files.
You know what? If we keep going at this type of pace, I think that I'm very optimistic. Like
Yeah,
this was a really great addition to the series, and I have high hopes that the momentum can keep going.
me too. Well, everyone, let us know your thoughts over on our Discord if you would
Hmm.
choose to join us. We, of course, have a season 6 episode chit chat over there,
Yes.
or you can talk to us at any of the social platforms on which we are on, mostly Blue Sky and Instagram at
Hmm.
OWWR Pod. You can also check out some amazing things at ourpod.com,
Yes.
including this month's author highlight for Delilah Wan.
Hmm.
For her Spithbo finalist book, Petition. This is the first in a series. She's an amazing author. She's
I
so
think it was a
fascinating.
semifinalist.
A semifinalist, yes, sorry. Um, Semifinalist. Laura knows how this works better than I do because she's part of
I
Before We
just
Go blog.
remember the finalists very distinctly because I was just recently a judge for Team Before We Go blog.
But Delilah Wan's amazing. She's a very interesting person. She live streamed the writing of this book, like the Google sheet and
Wow.
everything. It is built off of her own story as a child of immigrants. It is a story about children of immigrants who are poor and just fighting for their family. It sounds like an amazing book. I loved reading the
Amazing.
first opening chapters. And she gave us some specific Hour Pod discounts. So in the month of July, you can order these books at a discounted rate at Barnes and Noble, on her website, and on Smashwords, as well as Google Play. Um,
Awesome.
you're not
Thanks,
allowed to use
Delilah.
specific ones on Kindle or Kobo, but you are allowed to do specific coupon codes on all of those platforms. So go support one of those and get Delilah's books. She has them in audiobook as well. So that's huge for an indie author to have audiobooks. So go
Right.
support her. She was an amazing person to talk to. I loved speaking with her. So
Awesome.
go read her article. At the end of it, there are the discount codes, but read the whole thing.
Yes.
She and I both worked really hard on that. So
Thanks so much,
uh,
Delilah.
I know she's been amazing. So thank you so much, Delilah. And join us next week as we close out our discussion of Deadbeat. Bye.
Bye.